Good evening, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Marion City Council meeting for Thursday, April 18th, 2019. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. May we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Draper?
Here.
Ms. Atkins? Here. Mr. Jensen?
Here.
Mayor Abu-Asley?
Here.
Mr. Sternad?
Here.
Mr. Brandt?
Here.
Ms. Gedalia?
Okay. Thank you. At this time, we have a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, first on the agenda tonight, we have a proclamation in honor of Arbor Day, and I will come down front. And we have Mike and Marilyn from the tree board to accept the proclamation. So would you come forward, please? Thanks. Okay. Whereas trees benefit urban settings where man-made activity intensifies negative environmental and energy factors, and whereas trees benefit engineering, environmental, and climate factors in addition to aesthetics, and whereas Marion is well known for its tree-lined streets and parks and has been recognized as a Tree City USA community, and whereas Arbor Day activities have been carried out all over the United States since 1872 for promoting efforts to plant and maintain trees for their many benefits. Now therefore, I, Nicholas Abu-Asley, Mayor of the City of Marion, Iowa, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 26, 2019 as Arbor Day in the City of Marion and urge all citizens to support efforts to care for our trees and woodlands and support planting efforts and encourage citizens to plant trees for present and future generations.
I just wanted to quickly mention the City of Marion was recently recognized for the 26th consecutive year in a row or consecutively as a Tree City USA, which we mentioned. And part of that is our annual Arbor Day celebration. And so just to give some details on what we'll be doing for Arbor Day next week on Friday the 26th, we'll be planting seedling trees in and around the retention basin out on Prairie Ridge Avenue and Chestnut Lane just east of Highway 13. It is open to anybody that would be interested in participating. We'll be starting at about 12:30 in the afternoon and going till about 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate what Mike, our city arborist, does and his team and the tree board and the Parks Department. Marion is a much more beautiful place because we care for our trees and we do it in a very planful and thoughtful way. So thank you for all you do. Okay. At this time, we have a presentation regarding the 10th Street Bus Shelter. We have some visitors here from Marion First Christian Church. So please come forward, introduce yourself, and you're welcome to speak. Yeah, if you can redirect the mic. There you go, and speak into the microphone. Thank you.
All right. Well, Council, Mayor, friends, I'm Peter Mitchell. I'm the pastor of Marion Christian Church.
We're located on 10th Street in McGowan, where the stoplight at Indian Creek hits 10th Street. And so we are located just across the street from the Azure apartment complex, and we have seen over the last decade or so a whole lot of changes go on in the dynamics within the neighborhood, and we've been pleased to be a part of some of the solutions to some of the challenges that have come up. And in recent years, that has been the observation that there has not been sufficient shelter for our neighbors who utilize the bus system, and particularly that bus stop right there. Up until recently, it was on Boyson Road across the street from the apartment complex, and just in the last year or so was relocated to just north of the entrance to the parking lot of the apartment complex on 10th Street. And so through a series of conversations with members of the community, members of our congregation, people just seem to sort of notice kind of at the same time, oh, there's people just standing around in the rain or in the wind or in the snow. And so we just began to receive questions from our membership and from neighbors and friends like, is there something to be done about this? And so it started off as a conversation between my office and Tom and Kesha, who have been extraordinarily helpful. And lots of options were explored and what could be done and how much would it cost and what's the time frame. And, you know, there's grant funding and, you know, the glacial pace at which that moves. We thought we wanted to find something a little sooner than that. And so what I did, and Tom, I apologize, was I did what I call annoying people in the name of Jesus. I think you could concur I did just that. And we just kept asking the question, what can be done? What can be done? How much will it cost? What can we do to help pay for it? And so Tom worked diligently to find a solution. And so we're really happy to have partnered with the city to just ask enough of the right questions. Our congregation was pleased to provide $3,000 of the $7,000 or $8,000 necessary to get the structure put up. The Public Works Department, you know, the weather has not been anyone's friend. And so as quickly as they were able, got the slab in place, and then once the structure was in hand, did a great job getting that up and in place. And if you've driven by, you've probably already seen it in use. So again, I just want to extend my gratitude on behalf of Marion Christian Church to the city of Marion, to Tom and to Kesha, to their patience in listening to my many phone calls and emails, and their partnership in getting this project accomplished. Mayor, as you mentioned, we still have a lot of other bus stops to be taken care of, but this one in particular services the single highest ridership of any bus stop in the city of Marion, and so it was a particular need. I live a very lavish lifestyle. I own a car. I have a garage to park it in. I don't think twice when I swipe my card at the gas pump to put gas in it to get to work, to go to the grocery store, to go to soccer games. I think of that as just a have-to in life, but it really is a luxury. And so for our neighbors who are not in positions to afford the same luxury, the infrastructure that the city can provide for their safe transportation is crucial. And so for our partnership between religious institutions, community organizations, and the city, it is just really important that we're all aware of the needs around us that might not be our own need, but our needs that we can help satisfy for our friends and neighbors here in Marion. So I thank you for that partnership and look forward to what is next in our work to take care of each other.
Thank you for what you've done. And I often say that it's through partnerships like that that we really are able to accomplish the things that really make a difference in people's lives. And we've proven that over and over again through various partnerships and collaborations. We can do more than what we could do on our own. And thank you for stepping up and for bugging us about it. And thank you to the staff for, it's nice to hear that they were diligent and working hard to accommodate this need. And we have a plan for the rest of them, just so you know. So anyone else have any comments or? No? Okay. Thank you again. Yes, Tom.
I just want to say thank you to they did call and they kept us on task. And every time I talked to them, I said, hey, call me in a couple weeks, keep me going, I get it. So and so it did work out. So it's been great. I just wish we would have got it up a little sooner about the time. I mean, the weather's still not great. So.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. There are no other comments on that. We'll move on in our agenda. The next thing on our agenda is a public forum. This time is set aside for comments from the public on topics that are listed on the agenda but not associated with a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on any item to the council that is not on the that is on the agenda but is not part of a public hearing? Usually in a public hearing, the public has a chance to address the council on those matters. So, is there anyone here to do that? Is this the time? I know we have people here to speak on the sidewalk issues. Would this be the time to do that? Or is it on the...
Is that a public hearing?
I would do that during the public hearing for the sidewalks.
Okay. All right. Oh, that is a public hearing. Okay. Okay. So if you're here on the sidewalk issue, there will be a time later on in the agenda when we discuss that matter. Okay? Okay. Is there anyone else to address the council on any other item that is not on as part of a public hearing? Okay. It doesn't look like there's anyone. So we will move on to the consent agenda portion of the agenda.
Your Honor, I move to approve the consent agenda as follows, including items A1 through F3, resolutions 27569 through 27583.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, including items A1 through F3, resolutions 27569 through 27583. Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion has been approved. We'll move on to the next portion of the consent agenda, and I will turn over the gavel to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abu Asali's abstention from voting and discussion. And this will include items A1 through D1 and resolution number 27584.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve, a motion to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abelasli's abstention from voting and discussion as items A1 through D1, resolutions 27584. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. I'll turn the gavel back over to the mayor. At this time, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27585, resetting the date for the sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds. This will be series 2019A.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27585, resetting the date for the sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, series 2019A. Discussion. Okay. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27586, resetting the date for the sale of general obligation urban renewal refunding bonds, series 2019C.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilperson Brandt and seconded by Councilperson Atkins to approve resolution number 27586, resetting the date for the sale of general obligation urban renewal refunding bonds, series 2019C. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion to approve resolution number 27586, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27587, resetting the date for sale of general obligation annual appropriation urban renewal bonds, series 2019B.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27587, resetting the date for the sale of general obligation annual appropriation urban renewal bonds, series 2019B. Discussion?
I have
sir.
a question. I know we're approving these, but we had previous discussion about it. But could somebody just again reiterate again too the reason for the resetting of these? I believe there was some missing information. Is that correct?
Our bonding agent was contacted by several of the potential bidders that indicated that they were closing early, and with the close date, felt that if we deferred it a couple of weeks, we would probably get a larger group of bidders, more competition, better rates.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that clarification.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 27587, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. At this time, we have a public hearing on the proposed development agreement with Synergy Partners, Inc. Public hearing is now open. Do we have a brief summary?
Yeah, this is an agreement. Synergy Equity Partners is developing a new building out on Tower Terrace Road. It's a $2.28 million project, multi-tenant. One of the things that they have encountered as obstacles out there is that they are in competition with similar properties, particularly when it comes to recruiting restaurants, that there are properties around the metro area that have received tax incentives from other communities that allow them to offer lower rates for lease rates. And they lost a couple of tenants, potential tenants, one to a project over by Target, another one to a project over by Hy-Vee on Edgewood Road, and approached the city to see if there was anything we could entertain to help them level the playing field. So this is a very targeted incentive. It only applies if they recruit a restaurant, specifically not fast casual, not fast food with drive-through, but more of a sit-down style restaurant to that location. Then they can qualify for up to $30,000 per year for up to 5 years to be able to offer kind of a first-in lease rate to get someone out there. In addition to the lower rates that some of those other projects are able to charge, at this point, Tower Terrace Road is not complete over to C Avenue, and so you're competing with areas that have much higher traffic counts, which are pretty important in this industry.
I wasn't here on Tuesday to ask this question, but remind me, what was the prior action we took on this?
There was a memorandum of understanding in place with this group, and this is actually the formal development agreement that memorializes it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone from the public, please come forward. Anyone here to speak in opposition? Please come forward at this time. Okay, and I will ask, have we received any comments outside of the meeting from the public?
My office is not.
Development Department, anyone? Okay. All right, we will close the public hearing.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27588, approving development agreement with Synergy Partners, Inc., authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27588, approving the development agreement with Synergy Partners, Inc. Discussion. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to make the comment that the developers, I think, have done a wonderful job for the design and the looks of this building, both on the street side as well as the front side. So they certainly have made the investment, and I'm glad to see the city joining and making the investment to attract a restaurant to that developing area.
I agree. That's the type of project we should incent, because that is the nicest strip center I've seen.
Very nice.
And if only all of them looked like that, or to that level of quality, where it's brick all the way around, and like you said, both sides look great, and so that brings up the entire community, and I think encourages others to do the same. So
sets a good pace for that.
That's a good
area.
standard.
Yep.
Other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of resolution number 27588, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Thank you. The motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-06, amending Chapter 17 of the Code of Ordinances relating to council, and this is the second consideration.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilperson Jensen, seconded by Councilperson Atkins, to approve ordinance number 19-06, amending Chapter 17 of the Code of Ordinances relating to council. And Lon, would you just, for the public, kind of clarify what that is? That the ordinance, the paragraph in the agenda doesn't quite describe what it means.
For this item with, let's see, the city code is very specific about who can authorize and who can perform certain tasks, and what we're doing here is expanding our ability to be able to designate those to other folks, so making it very clear. We've added positions and added some different titles to the organization that are intended to assume some of those duties, but we want to make sure we've got specific legal authority to transfer some of those over.
All right. Any discussion on ordinance number 19-06? Okay. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 19-06, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. This time we have a public hearing regarding the proposed adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 110 of the Code of Ordinances regarding natural gas franchise with Mid-American Energy Company, including the addition of franchise fees. This was continued from April 4th, 2019, so the public hearing is already open. We just didn't close it, correct? So we could take further comments at this time. If anyone from the public is here to speak either for or against this measure, please come forward at this time. Okay, seeing that there are none, we will proceed to close the public hearing. The public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-07, amending Chapter 110 of the Code of Ordinances regarding natural gas franchise with Mid-American Energy Company, including the addition of franchise fees. This will be the initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 19-07, amending Chapter 110 of the Code of Ordinances regarding natural gas franchise with Mid-American Energy Company, including addition of franchise fees. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of ordinance number 19-07, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-08, amending Chapter 111 of the Code of Ordinances regarding electrical franchise with Interstate Power and Light Company, Alliant, including the addition of franchise fees. Second consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the second consideration of ordinance number 19-08, amending Chapter 111 of the Code of Ordinances regarding electric franchise with Interstate Power and Light Company, including the addition of franchise fees. Discussion? Okay. Has anyone been receiving or hearing from people about this at all?
No.
Okay. Okay, if there's no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor of ordinance number 19-08, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-09, adding Chapter 114 to the Code of Ordinances regarding a franchise agreement with Lynn County Rural Electric Cooperative Association to include franchise fees. Second consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 19-09, adding Chapter 114 to the Code of Ordinances regarding a franchise agreement with Lynn County Rural Electric Cooperative Association, including franchise fees. This is the second consideration. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of ordinance number 19-09, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-12, amending Chapter 20 of the Code of Ordinances relating to city manager, and this is the initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 19-12, amending Chapter 20 of the Code of Ordinances relating to city manager. And again, could we just have a brief summary of what this is for the members of the public who are here, whether city attorney or city manager, please? Thanks.
Go ahead, Karen.
This provision is just to update. It formerly had some positions within the city that were listed as appointed positions, but they are hired positions. So all it does is take those that are hired out of the appointed list. So
Okay.
it took 2 positions out, in case you're wondering. That's all.
No, I just wanted the members of the public, because it's so brief that it doesn't mean anything to people who are sitting here observing what we're doing. Okay. Any discussion on ordinance number 19-12? All those in favor of ordinance number 19-12, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance 19-13, amending Chapter 165, Section 165.11 of the Code of Ordinances relating to housing code definitions. This will be the initial consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 19-13, amending Chapter 165 of the Code of Ordinances relating to housing code definitions. Okay, so which section is being amended? Oh, Chapter 165, Section 165.11. Okay. All right.
This goes with the one prior to this. It's just changing the word appointed to hired as relates to the housing code officials.
Discussion? All right, all those in favor of ordinance number 19-13, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-14, amending Chapter 176, Section 176.06 of the Code of Ordinances relating to zoning regulation rules and definitions. Initial consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 19-14, amending Chapter 176, Section 176.06 of the Code of Ordinances relating to zoning regulations, rules, and definitions. Initial consideration.
This is the same thing. It's as relates to the zoning official. It's just changing the word hired or appointed to hired. Better say that
Thank
right.
you. Appreciate that. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving ordinance number 19-14, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion is approved. On the- Yep.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27589, approving amendment to the professional services agreement with Anderson Bogart Engineers in the amount of $99,218 for the Eco-Industrial Park development.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27589, approving amendment to the professional services agreement with Anderson Bogart Engineers in the amount of $99,218 for the Eco-Industrial Park development. Discussion? None? All those in favor of resolution number 27589, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve project calendar for the civil improvements associated with the public service maintenance facility as follows, and this will include the following resolutions: 27590 through 27592.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved by Councilperson Jensen, seconded by Councilperson Brandt, to approve the project calendar for the civil improvements associated with the Public Service Maintenance Facility, including resolutions 27590 through 27592. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27593, approving proposal with Terracon regarding geotechnical engineering services for the new Marion Fire Station in the amount not to exceed $12,150.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27593, approving proposal with Terracon regarding geotechnical engineering services for the new Marion Fire Station in an amount not to exceed $12,150. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of resolution number 27593, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27594, approving proposal with Terracon regarding Phase 1 environmental site assessment for the new Marion Fire Station in the amount of $2,100.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilperson Brandt, seconded by Councilperson Jensen, to approve resolution number 27594, approving proposal with Terracon regarding Phase 1 environmental site assessment for the new Marion Fire Station in an amount not to exceed $2,100. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of resolution number 27594, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved, and on this next item, I will turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27595, approving contract with Hall & Hall Engineers Incorporated for engineering design services regarding the Irish Drive project, New Marion Fire Station, in an amount not to exceed $19,900.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilwoman Colette and seconded by Councilman Jensen to approve resolution number 27595, approving contract with Hall & Hall Engineers Incorporated for engineering design services regarding the Irish Drive project, the new Marion Fire Station, in the amount not to exceed $19,900. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. I'll relinquish the gavel back over. Oh, I'm
Just
sorry.
note that I've abstained. Thank you.
One abstention.
Okay, at this time, we have a public hearing regarding the 2019 Sidewalk Assessment Project. The public hearing is now open, and do we have a brief presentation? City engineer?
So the locations that were selected would be 25th Avenue South Side from 1565 25th Avenue to Indian Creek Road, Grand Avenue North Side from 985 Creek Bend Drive to 150 Grand Avenue, 33rd Avenue South Side from 3295 6th Street to 3290 7th Street, South 12th Street East Side from E Avenue to F Avenue, and 22nd Street West Side from 840 22nd Street to 9th Avenue.
Okay. Is there anyone here to address the council on the sidewalk assessment project as proposed? This is a time to come forward and address the council with your questions. If you would come forward and then hand the city clerk your yellow card if you filled it out, and state your name and address, and you're welcome to address the council. Anyone here to speak in favor first? In favor? Okay, come on, you please come forward. If you can, when you're finished, please fill out the yellow card and state your name and address and your comments. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Jay Borshaw. I live at 1665 on 25th Avenue. I just wanted to state my support, our family's support. We love our sidewalks. We use them every day, walking with the family to get to the downtown area and including walking our children to school. Promise did not bring them here as props today. Wife was at another meeting. So we also have a list of signatures, too, with residents of the street in support that I can hand over. But I think that area in particular, it's kind of a dangerous area with the corner coming around Indian Creek onto 25th Avenue with that unfinished portion of the sidewalk, and it causes us and other families on that side to have to cross the middle of the street. And with that, the traffic flow being diverted from East 29th Avenue with that stop sign there at Indian Creek onto that street also is a very increased volume around that time. So I think it's in the interest of safety and finishing up that sidewalk. We are in support of it. Thank you.
Okay. Do you, any questions for him? Okay. Sir, if you wouldn't mind filling out the card, that'd be great. And then what do we do about his signatures that he has?
You guys actually received that as part of the email
Okay.
that I emailed.
Oh,
the
okay.
council.
So we've already received that.
Yeah, so you've already received the 16 signatures in the letter.
Okay. All right. Anyone here to speak in opposition? Or if there's anyone else to speak in favor, come forward. In favor? Yes, come on forward. And if you could also state your name and address and fill out the card. Thank you.
My name is Stephen Beck, property owner of 150 Grand. In between that distance of adding it, there is a driveway right there. I was wondering if that curb was going to be changed in the addition of the sidewalk, because I'd like to keep the driveway.
When we get to that portion of the project, we'll look more closely at that. But typically, we can't take access away unless we purchase it.
Right.
The answer is no. It wouldn't be taken away unless we actually buy it.
Can you switch the screens for me?
What was your address again, sir?
150 Grand Avenue.
Thank you.
So yeah, that
All the way to
Yeah, so
second driveway.
technically that's not an actual driveway. It looks like you're just driving on the grass.
Well,
so in
it
that
used-
case, it's not an actual access.
No, it's a place where I park my truck, but it's on my property. It used to be an old city utility turnaround because that road was a dead end, according to my neighbors.
Is there a curb cut there? Is there a curb
Yeah,
cut?
the curb
There
is cut there for a driveway. And future project of mine is to put a
Yeah.
extra shop right there.
We'd have to look at it. I can't give you an answer right now, but generally, unless you're a corner lot, you're only allowed one driveway.
Okay.
So that's not a legal driveway.
I would not say it is currently. He's parking on the grass, which is also against
Well, it's
regulation as
actually
well.
gravel right there.
Okay. It's hard to tell from this image.
Understand. But yeah, the tracks in the lawn there, that was just me moving gym equipment into the basement.
So the driveway, whether or not it or the curb cut can remain or not, really is a separate issue from the sidewalk assessment project.
Correct.
But you're just here just for information
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
That's fine. But, okay.
All right.
Just for my own information.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else to speak in favor? Okay, anyone to speak in opposition, please come forward. Thank you.
My name is Marilyn Newton. I reside at 775 South 12th Street. The sidewalk portion between E and F Avenues on South 12th Street are the matter in question. A few years back, a sidewalk was put along the west side of South 12th Street from Grand up to F. And now there's a proposal to continue the sidewalk on the east side of the street for a block. In the interest of some safety, we're questioning the logic of that. Um, at the top of the hill, just right past, right around E, there's a crest of a hill. It's rather a high hill. Cars generally travel possibly faster than speed limits from A along that stretch. There is west side parking allowed on South 12th and not on the east side. So there are vehicles parked along there past the crest of the hill. Sometimes just one truck that moves from place to place and some other cars. And someone topping that hill in a southbound direction, if someone was having to cross on the west side of the street over to the east side of the street, that portion, visibility might be obstructed. I believe it would cause an increase of public danger in making that crossing. Also, there might be a tendency to cross diagonally from the west side to the east side, which I believe is an illegal. That would possibly necessitate having more traffic control, either through crossing guards or lights having to be put up after this is decided. I agree that sidewalks are a good thing. I was just questioning why it is not continuing along on the west side of the street.
So, do you mind expanding that, Mike?
You want to see the bigger picture of it? Or you
Just so
want
that
me
we can see more clearly where she's talking about.
So she's talking about the intersection right here. This is F Avenue
Right.
and South 12th.
Okay.
So the proposition, as stated, is you see the sidewalk going up along the west side of the street to F,
Right.
and that we'd be continuing it along the east side of the street at that point. It seems to be vehicularly a lot of cars do travel there, and they do seem to, in order to get up from the south side or from the north side, visibility is better going from south to north up to that hill. They can see if people are crossing. Generally, I would think, but coming down, it's 200 yards or less from the crest of the hill to the street corner, and I don't know if someone is driving a little bit fast, if visibility is obscured by parked cars, and someone having to cross into the path. I just would like to put that objection as far as public safety. That is all.
People using the sidewalk will have to cross.
Yeah, so right now, just to give you guys a little more background, when we reconstructed South 11th, we did put this light in so that the west side residents could come across to the east side. But as they come down F, you can see that F angles downward. And then once they get here, there's not actually a good crossing. And if you can see here, here's the main crossing that they actually use, is at E Avenue. And so it makes sense to connect these two. The reason why we didn't keep it on the west side, moving north, is there's some grade issues. There's a retaining wall right here. And generally, assuming the sidewalk assessment continues, as we've discussed, there'll be sidewalk on both sides someday. And so right now, we just look at what is the most economical place to put that sidewalk. And rather than having to redo retaining walls and those steep slopes, it's economical to put it on the east side versus the west side.
But the plan is, and the intent is to have it on both sides?
Eventually, we want sidewalk on both sides and everywhere in the city.
Okay, could you zoom out a little bit more then to include more of the neighborhood?
Okay, I guess we should let her finish her comments and then see if there's anybody else that wants to speak, and then at some point we'll have it back up here for our own discussion. But, do you have any other comments, ma'am?
That concludes most of my...
Okay, do you have any questions for her? Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else to speak in opposition, please come forward.
My name's Don Matheny. I'm a resident at 715 South 12th Street. I'm in opposition to the sidewalk. I know based on your recommendations or reasons for putting in the sidewalk, the heavy pedestrian traffic, well, I spend quite a bit of my time sitting out in the front, especially in the morning when school is opening and in the evening when they're getting out. And presently, there's only 2 to 8 people per day that walk on that street. And they normally walk on the west side of the street. Occasionally, there's somebody that walks on the east side. So there's very little traffic there. And the fact that there's no gaps in the sidewalk because the sidewalk is on the west side and parking is allowed on the west side and not on the east side. So I feel that there's other areas or within our area that need sidewalk a lot more than that single block.
Which areas would those be?
On 14th Street, on the west side from the school. I also used to live right across from Starry. And the parents come and drop off their kids or pick up their kids. Sometimes would even park in my driveway. And there's no sidewalk on the north side of the street there, so again, you had kids getting out of a car and running across the street. So you're kind of establishing the same thing here. You park on the west side of the street, now you got to go across the street to the east side to get on the sidewalk. Just make any sense. I also have a retaining wall on my address that has to be manipulated one way or another. And there is, between Maryland's and my property, there is an extreme grade going up from her yard to my yard. That's another issue with the sidewalk.
So the sidewalk will be going across your property?
Yes, it would. I have no objection to the sidewalk. It's just the fact that everything happens on the west side of the street. Parking, and especially during the ball season, down at Grand Avenue and 12th, there's a lot of people park all the way up that hill. And they walk down the street till they get to F Avenue where they got a sidewalk. They go on that side down to the ball field. So I'd say continue it on the west side where it makes some continuity in the thing. The other place is at the ball field. That definitely needs a sidewalk there because there's an awful lot of kids play on South 12th Street when they're having ball practice down there or whatever. So that's about it.
Okay. Any questions from the council? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else to address the council on this matter? Please come forward. Anyone else to address the council on this matter? Okay. If there's no one else coming forward, then we will close the public hearing. I will ask the staff, have we received other comments outside of this meeting?
Council has,
Besides what you've emailed us? Go ahead.
everything has been emailed to council.
Okay.
Yep, so the 2 letters against and the 1 letter for.
Yep. So we've received the comments in favor and in opposition. Okay. Then we will move on to the agenda item.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the project calendar regarding the 2019 sidewalk assessment project This will include resolution numbers 27596 to 27600.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the project calendar regarding the 2019 sidewalk assessment project, resolutions 27596 through 27600. Discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Jensen?
Yeah, I would like to talk more about the 12th Street decision, because again, I drove over there this morning, and when I take a look at that, it certainly made a little more sense to me visually that sidewalk might function better being on the west side rather than the east side. And I know you made a comment about the cost, and it may be there on both sides eventually, but that eventually could be, that's indeterminable on how far out that's going to be. So I'm assuming we're going to have one sidewalk on one side of the street for a pretty long period of time, because generally a lot of that entire neighborhood does not have a lot of sidewalks, especially the further north that you go. So I understand continuity and bringing that up and across, but it also, especially going north-south, seems to make a little more sense to me to consider the west side instead of the east side. So can you give us some more comments or discussion about why that, aside from a little bit of cost, why that would not be considered over the east side?
That's the main thing that we look at, is what's the most cost, and that's what my staff does. So we just look at it, and when we did South 11th to the south of it, we basically had to grade from the back of curb all the way to almost the front of the garages on most of those houses. We had to clear cut a lot of trees, just because it's so steep. But again, this comes to council's, and this is ultimately council's decision.
Yeah, when I looked at it and drove by it this morning, it may be a little steeper on that side, but it didn't look a lot different to me, and I didn't put a grade on it or anything else, but,
This is just staff's recommendation to council, and you guys have the choice to change that.
So I guess as I look at it, whether people cross the street at the south end of that block or at the north end, they have to just cross the street at some point.
Yeah, but I also look at it from the standpoint, you not only walk, and you talk about a lot of bicyclists as well. Kids are riding their bicycles and all of that. And again, eventually having a continuity of those bicycles coming across, and they can go up 12th Street, and same thing going north-south. The further that sidewalk continues up on the same side, makes it easier for those kids, I think, to maneuver that street, whether they're walking or riding their bikes, and they can hit up to G Avenue and then go right to the school. So, to me, that makes a little more sense to me. Even if it's a little more, cost a little bit more, that seems to make more sense to me as far as one side of the street versus the other. I know it maybe cost a little bit more, but I think functionality, it seems to me to
What does
make
that
more
do to
sense.
the cost, Mike?
We did not look at that.
What does that do to the project timeline?
I've honestly never had council change from the engineer's direction on which side to put it on. So I would have to lean on legal to see what we have to do per the Iowa Code assessment process.
I don't know if anybody else concurs.
Yeah, we don't know if that's the consensus.
We're discussing right now.
I'm just bringing that out so people
yeah.
consider that as a. Yeah.
I'm giving my opinion.
Yep, I've just never had council go against engineer's recommendation,
Yeah.
so
Well,
I don't
we
know how the
haven't yet,
assessment
but we
process changes.
We haven't yet, but I would.
No promises.
Because those people on the west side, we obviously haven't noticed.
I understand.
So
so
I don't
we'd
know
have
how
to-
that changes things.
You'd have to go through public hearing again.
I would assume so, but again, I'm
Yeah,
not leaning
we
on
would-
legal.
Yes, you would.
We would absolutely have to renotice that. We can't do an assessment without noticing the property owners that there's a potential that their property could be assessed, so.
Anyone else have an opinion? Yes, ma'am.
Right.
This is your ward here.
Right, absolutely.
So-
Steve was quick to jump in before I had a chance, so
Sorry.
That's okay. I would concur, though, with Steve. I think when I think about the sort of the walking and the biking patterns, it makes more sense to be on the west side as opposed to the east side. I recognize that it's been assessed and this is a recommendation, so I acknowledge that and appreciate that work, but I also can see the advantage to having that sidewalk on the west side first as opposed to that east side. As I think about, and I'm familiar with that neighborhood and I'm familiar with those ballparks because I've parked in that neighborhood and went down to the ballparks for many years. And I absolutely can see that my family would have used that sidewalk on the west side of that street as well, so.
And if it was on the east side, you wouldn't have used it? Or?
You know what, we wouldn't have. I wouldn't have crossed over where I parked to walk over to come back across to go that direction.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I
Mr.
think
Brandt?
the whole reason for the sidewalk to go in was for connectivity to Starry. I know, so I'm on the committee for the advisory committee for sidewalks. Unfortunately, this year I was unable to make the one meeting that we have a year about it. But as far as all the email chains, I was included on the email chains, and this was actually one of the top 3 out of all of them. And that's why it made the cut for this. And the whole purpose of it was for that connectivity from Grand all the way up to Starry for children to be able to get to the school. And that's one of the main factors that's looked at all the sidewalks that are put in is connectivity to schools.
Okay.
I see the points that are being made, but I also think that it's not necessarily for the ball diamond people to park and cross the street. And it really is for the kids to get up the street and over to the school. And like Mike said, the thought was that the grading was less on the east side so that it could be put into this year's program because of the money. And it would connect Grand all the way up and over to the actual path that is, I shouldn't say path, the crossing on 14th to get to Starry. So that was the main reasoning for this one to rank so high, was that for the rest of the section that was put in the west side was put in to get the connectivity all the way up to E to get it over. So this was continuing what's been put in the past to get the connectivity to Starry.
Well, I agree with the connectivity. I'm just not agreeing with the logic on the side.
Yeah, and I'm just telling you all the reasons that it was put in.
No, I concur with that. In looking at the whole sidewalk scheme, that does make sense to have a sidewalk on that block.
One challenge that I will point out, if we zoom in and look at this intersection of South 12th, because the sidewalk line's right up with that driveway, that means we either have to cross here, which might be a worse spot for the kids to cross, or we're going to build the sidewalk clear up here, cross, and then cross. And I don't know of anyone that's going to do that.
No, they will not. I didn't see that.
Which is another reason why it's on the east side versus the west side.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I did not pick up on that.
The public hearing is closed, but if you have a brief comment, come on, we'll let you come forward and make the comment. No problem.
Thank you so much. My name is Jackie Horton. I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, Mary Beats, who have lived at 1215 E Avenue for about 35, 40 years. And I'm sitting here listening, and I'm not sure, I might have missed something in the reading of the material that you sent, but in the guidelines, when you all were having your discussion, it sounds like you were saying that the reason for making the decision was totally the financial aspect of it, but I didn't see that in the guideline as a determination as to why that sidewalk would go in. So I was just wondering if someone could elaborate on that.
Okay.
So when the sidewalk assessment committee meets, they are more looking at which side of the street.
If you wouldn't mind filling out the card for us, thank you. Okay.
They're not necessarily looking at what side of the street. They're looking at what streets do we want to connect. And then it's engineering that goes out and looks at the field and comes up with a recommendation of what side. And that's where we're going to look at economics and what's the best way to put that in there.
As well as the practicality, since you've pointed out that you couldn't really have a crossing there that's even with the current sidewalk because of the driveway. I'm still wondering, what's the difference if people are crossing up there or down, at the south end of that block. They're still having to cross the street, but this may not be a perfect solution, but we're getting a sidewalk where there isn't a sidewalk in this block, and with the hope that someday it'd be on both sides. I mean, it may not happen. Who knows? I mean, but that's at least the plan and the goal. But and it's not perfect, but we're moving forward. It's one step in the right direction. Yes.
I think, that driveway, that was a good, pointing that out, and the idea that we do need to connect to the school, because I agree, we want to make sure those kiddos have sidewalks to get to school. If that driveway, it's changed my mind, right? Because they're not going to cross there, right? They're going to come down and still cross in a space that's probably not safe for those kids. So as much as I can see wanting it on that west side, pointing out that driveway, I've been convinced to think differently now at this point in connecting it to the school and wanting those kids to be on the sidewalk at all times if we can. And since we're not going to be able to get it on both sides, right? It's financially we're going to do one side or the other. So
Yeah, and that's typical. I mean, you can see on E Avenue, we only put it on the south side, and generally you get it on one side at least, and then you go back, and once it's on one side everywhere, then we'll start going back and put it on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, other discussion? Anything else to add, Steve? Or?
No, I think I probably would agree with Colette about that driveway alignment. Just doesn't work as well unless that goes all the way past G Avenue. But so I would have to agree that probably the east side will be a little better than the west side, given that.
Okay. Anything else? Well, Randy, nothing to add. Okay. Okay. If there are no more comments or discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the motion to approve the project calendar regarding 2019 sidewalk assessment project resolutions 27596 through 27600 as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion is approved. Thank you. It was good discussion. Thank you to the members of the public who are here. At this time, we have a public hearing regarding 2019 pedestrian beacon project. Public hearing is now open. I'll ask the city engineer for a brief presentation.
So this is installing the rapid flashing beacons on the newly constructed Grantwood Trail. This will be at the intersection of 31st, 35th, and 44th. This is similar to what we put on South 15th and the two on Alburnett Road. We did receive two bids. The low bid was from Trey Electric at $49,848, which was 55% of the engineer's estimate. There is a late start date of 7/8/19 with 30 working days and liquidated damages in the amount of $300 per day.
Okay. Is there anyone here to address the council in favor of this measure? Please come forward. Anyone here to address the council in opposition? Please come forward. Okay. The public hearing is now closed. We'll bring it back to the council.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27601, accepting bids and awarding contract to Trey Electric Corporation regarding the 2019 pedestrian beacon project in the amount of $49,878.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27601, accepting bids and awarding contract to Trey Electric Corporation regarding the 2019 pedestrian beacon project in the amount of $49,878. Discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve resolution 27601, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to receive and file discuss and refer to TAC a petition regarding no parking on First Street from 29th Ave to 33rd Ave.
Your Honor,
Yes,
I would
sir.
like to table this. I did talk to the petitioner, and they are going to get more signatures. However, they did not have enough time, so I would like to table this until the next meeting so they can get those signatures.
Okay, so we have a suggestion from the city engineer to table the motion, if anyone is so inclined to make that motion.
Has it even been seconded yet?
Has not been seconded?
Oh, that's right. So we don't have a motion yet, anyway. So
Can it be brought back
if it dies for lack of a second, can we put it back on the agenda?
I'm normally asked that question in regards to who is on the prevailing side. If something dies for lack of a second, there is no prevailing side, so I'm not honestly sure what the procedure would be.
Well, maybe we should just accept that someone second it and then move to table it. That'd be the most
I will second the
sure
motion.
way to do it. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and discuss and refer to TAC the petition regarding no parking on First Street from 29th Avenue to 33rd Avenue. Now, discussion, and if anyone is inclined to make a motion to table, this will be the time.
Your Honor, I make a motion to table, receive, file, discuss TAC petition regarding parking on First Street from 29th Ave to 33rd Ave.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilperson Atkins, seconded by Councilperson Jensen, to table the motion regarding parking on First Street from 29th Avenue to 33rd Avenue. Discussion on tabling. Any discussion on tabling? Okay. All those in favor of tabling the motion, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve motion to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC a petition regarding additional speed limit signage on 50th Street south of 29th Ave.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC a petition regarding additional speed limit signage on 50th Street south of 29th Avenue. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC letters regarding changing the classification of Connection Avenue.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC letters regarding changing the classification of Connection Avenue. Discussion.
Just for the council's benefit, this is the one that we spoke of on Tuesday. So we had a lengthy discussion about this one. So I just want to bring that one to the attention of the council, of our intentions of whether we continue the motion on this or to vote this one down. So,
Well, should we just amend it to not refer it? To just only receive, file, and discuss and not refer?
Yeah, so
We could still receive, file, and discuss.
yeah.
correct, and that's
So-
what we had thought and discussed. Yes, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No, it's okay. Not having been here on Tuesday, are the residents bringing this forward, or is it the developer?
The residents wrote the letter. I don't know if they
Okay.
were pushed by the developer, but
Okay.
it's the residents that.
My recollection, being on this council when we approved that subdivision, that was one of the concerns was, the parking, and the developer said there'd be enough parking, and there'd be the row of houses there, and they'd have enough parking right in front of the houses, and they wouldn't need street parking. And that was clearly discussed back at that time, because there was some concern on the council about approving that subdivision, or that development of the row of houses there, because of that issue. So just putting it all in perspective and bringing back that discussion, so.
Mr. Mayor, it's at this time that I would move to amend this motion to strictly just a receive and file.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend the motion to limit it to receiving and filing and not refer it to TAC. Okay, discussion on the motion to amend. All right, all those in favor of amending the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, so now the motion as amended reads, receive and file the letters regarding changing the classification of Connection Avenue. Discussion on the amended motion. Okay, all those in favor of the amended motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, the motion is approved as amended.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27602, authorizing a funding application to the Corridor Metropolitan Planning Organization for Service Transportation Block Grant Funds in the amount of $776,000 and committing to provide local matching funds for the Marion Boulevard, 7th Avenue, 10th Avenue project in Marion. This will be 7th Avenue, 12th Street to 22nd Street.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27602, authorizing funding application to the Corridor Metropolitan Planning Organization for Surface Transportation Block Grant Funds in the amount of $776,000 and committing to provide local matching funds for Marion Boulevard, 7th Avenue, 10th Avenue project in Marion. Discussion. And just to reiterate that these are funds that have been freed up at the MPO level because they were defunded out of another project, so now they're available to be applied for, and we're applying for those funds. So it's good to see that we're doing that. Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, Mike, I want to just make sure we're talking about those phases 1 and 2 or sections 1 and 2 of 3 that we showed at the Tuesday night work session, correct?
Yeah, so this would be phases 2 and 3 that you saw. So it's it was 12th to, I think, I don't remember what the middle street was, and then from that street to 22nd.
Okay, I stand corrected. That was sections 2 and 3.
Yeah, so the first section was the one that we did not want to apply for. That would be the uptown.
Correct.
We want to federalize that. So it was the next 2 westerly sections.
Very good, thank you. I just for the recording, I want that to be clear that I was incorrect. It's sections 2 and 3 of the 3 sections shown. Okay, thank you.
Okay, further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of resolution 27602, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. For the next 3 items, I will turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve resolution number 27603, approving change order number 10 with Genesis Equities LLC regarding the 2017 Central Corridor Improvements Project Phase 3, which is 13th Street to 19th Street, regarding the storm sewer modifications in the amount of $10,399.05.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27603, approving the change order number 10 with Genesis Equities LLC regarding the 2017 Central Corridor Improvement Project Phase 3 regarding the storm sewer modifications in the amount of $10,399.05. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27604, approving the Central Corridor Interim Development Overlay, IDO, review regarding the GLD multi-tenant commercial development plan located at 2791 7th Avenue, GLD Commercial.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27604, approving the Central Corridor Interim Development Overlay, review regarding the GLD multi-tenant commercial development plan located at 2791 7th Avenue. This will be GLD Commercial. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All of those opposed, same. Motion carries. We have 1 abstention. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve resolution number 27605, approving plat of survey, also known as a POS, at 2335 located adjacent to 2791 7th Avenue, City of Marion.
Second.
My sheet is not the same.
I ad-libbed a little bit, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you.
That was just a jab at Tom.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So it has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27605, approving plat of survey 2335 located adjacent to 2791 7th Avenue. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries with one abstention. Thank you. At this time, I'll relinquish the meeting back over to the mayor. And at this time, Mr. Mayor, I approve ordinance number 19-10, approving zoning from undesignated and C1, designated and C1 neighborhood commercial to PDS Plan Development Special for property between 35th Avenue and Tower Terrace Road extended and 35th Street and 44th Street extended. Second consideration, the City of Marion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the second consideration of ordinance number 19-10, approving zoning from undesignated and C1 neighborhood commercial to PDS Plan Development Special for property between 35th Avenue and Tower Terrace Road extended and 35th Street and 44th Street extended. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of ordinance number 19-10, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-11, approving zoning from undesignated to PI Public Institutional located north of 35th Avenue, east of 35th Street. Second consideration from Linn-Mar Community School District.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 19-11, approving zoning from undesignated to public institutional located north, for property located north of 35th Avenue, east of 35th Street. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor of ordinance number 19-11, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. At this time, we have another public hearing regarding a new housing program and a new housing code table of fees. Public hearing is now open. Looks like we're going to have a presentation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
We'll try and make this quicker than the other night.
Thank you.
If I can get this, there we go. All right. So we talked the other night, Tuesday night, about why we do rental inspections. For starters, we have almost 4,500 rental units in the city of Marion right now, and we're expecting to add probably close to another 300 in the next couple of years. Why do we do the inspections? We talked about it the other night. Public safety is a big reason. It's designed for the safety of our citizens so they can have safe rental housing. We do fire prevention, a lot of that through the inspections of the electrical systems and making sure that smoke detection is in these rental units. Like I said the other night, the smoke detection is probably the biggest thing that we have that is an issue when we go in to do these inspections. Also health hazards from leaky pipes and leaky roofs that are causing mold issues. We don't mitigate the mold, but we do just to try and mitigate the cause. So then hazards is like from dilapidated structures, tripping, falling, stairs falling off decks and that kind of thing, because after a while stuff rots. So, and another reason is the complaints. We had a 57% increase over the last year. So we feel that if we can get in more often, we can kind of maybe slow some of those down. Changes being proposed. This isn't the housing program part itself. 2-year inspections instead of 3. We're at 3 right now, and I believe we can make 2 work pretty well. The landlord permit fee, we need to keep their information up to date for all the landlords. We need to know how many units they have and where they have them, and who. We also have a provision in there that says that they have to have a representative within 50 miles of the city of Marion. We have landlords out in Las Vegas and California, and these folks don't come back more than once a year. And if they need somebody to take care of their property, to come meet us when we want to do an inspection, we need to have somebody within 50 miles. We need all that contact information. There's a lot of time involved in keeping that up to date. We've also added a landlord permit suspension in there. It gives a lot of latitude for the landlords. They get a lot of opportunities to correct things before they get to that point, and we really hope that we don't get to that point. And then we're going to kind of try and change our fees. So we're looking at why we're looking at this increase. A lot of it has to do with the property tax rollback. We discussed that the other night. It gets to be less and less taxes coming in every year. If you look at the one back in 2012, the taxes on that property were in the neighborhood of $140,000. What we're projecting in the future and currently is probably closer to $80,000 or $70,000. So it's really rolling backwards. We're not getting the property tax on these properties anymore. So these are we're proposing the revenue funded, and we talked a little bit about the other night. The housing inspector with their benefits is $83,000 a year. Clerical staff, the time probably with their benefits is around the $35,000, and then the expenses for vehicles and tools and office supplies, things like that. So our proposed fees, we'll be adding a $50 landlord permit. That'll be an annual permit. Hiawatha and Cedar Rapids both do a $50, but they only do a one-time fee. We're looking at adding a registration fee for housing units for every 2 years. This would come due when we do their inspection. They would pay the registration, and they would pay $10 for each unit after the first. So if you have a 4-unit complex, it'd be paying $70 for a registration. Cedar Rapids is $38 and $10, and Hiawatha is $20 and $5, and they're annually where ours would be every other year. So regular inspection fees, right now we're at $50. We'll be changing that to $75. We do $13 a unit after the first, and we'd be doing $5 a unit after the fourth. So we've decreased that actually a little bit. If everything passed the first time, that $75 would be waived, and they'd still be charged for the $5 a unit. Cedar Rapids' first-time fee is free. Then they move up quite substantially after that, and Hiawatha is $50 and $10 on theirs. So other fees we're talking about, no-show fees. We have an issue with that a lot of times. One of the reasons why we want the landlord permit fee too is to make sure we have correct addresses. We'll send out a letter telling them we want to inspect the property. Nobody shows up, and they say, well, we didn't get the letter. So we really want to try and keep that up to date so we can both cut off the no-show fees. It just takes our time to go there, and nobody shows up. We wait around for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and it's just nothing for it. So and then we want to change the confirmed complaint inspection, and we talked about the confirmed complaint as one that we've gone out to, and there is a valid complaint. If somebody calls us and there's no complaint, then that's valid, then we go back and we don't charge them for anything. And then the appeal fee is going to be the same. It's still going to be the $50. Just do a quick side-by-side comparison from current and proposed. So landlord permit fee right now is nothing, and we want to change that to $50. The registration fee for the 2 year, nothing right now, and we want to do the $40 and the $10. Regular inspection goes from $50 to $75, but just remember that $75 would be credited back and would not be charged if they pass the first time. And then additional units, right now we do 13 after 1, and we're proposing 5 after 4 because we feel that we can do a fourplex in the same amount of time we can do a single-family dwelling. So we figure that that should work out about the same. And just an example of the fees passing, the 1 unit current fee is $50, and if they pass the first time, they'd only be charged the $40 for the registration fee. And if they had a 4 unit, the current fee is $89, and the proposed fee would only be $70. It'd be the $40 plus the $5 for the inspection, or the $10 for the, no, the $5 for the inspection. So, no, I'm sorry, the registration would be the $10 for the registration. The inspection for a 4 unit would not be anything. There'd be no cost for that. Some of the other fees, first reinspection, we would like to bump that up to 75, second 100, third 150, and the fourth, and any after that at 300. And those show fees, since we have kind of an issue with that right now, we're trying to really eliminate that. So we'd be doing 131.25 for the first no-show, and then it's going to go up from there, the 175, 262, and the 525. So I doubt very much that we'll get to that point, but with those kind of fees, hopefully they'll be a little less likely to not show up. Investigation fee, we bumped that up to 75. Appeals, we didn't want to change the appeal fee. We thought that was reasonable, and we wanted to give people the avenue that they can still appeal a decision that's made by a department. And then complaints inspection, we did change that from 50 to 75. And then I did talk to you the other day about the vacant building fee. And that we've put in that would come to effect after 180 days, and that would be $150 annually. So, talk a little bit about the landlord, the loss of the permit. 5 or more valid complaints in a 2-year cycle. This would include PD's call of service. It would not include like fire department, ambulance, things like that. It's just it would be more of a someplace where somebody could be arrested if the police department goes there and somebody's just playing their music too loud and they tell them to turn it down. That's not a valid complaint for us. That would not count toward their group or their number. 4 more regular inspections without an approval. If we get to that point, we're gonna pull their landlord permit. Non-payment of housing fees would be another one we would pull their landlord permit for. Operating as a landlord without a permit and operating as a landlord or renting without a registration, both those we would pull their permit. We pull their permit for, it'd be for a 6-month period, and they can get that back. They would lose, what that really means to them is they would lose the ability to take on new rentals for 6 months. We would keep that, and then obviously we're not going to do anything with their current rentals, and we're assuming that if they lose their landlord permit, they'll be able to keep the other units going, and hopefully if they have issues with those, they'll get those taken care of as well. Landlord will be required to take an accredited landlord education class, such as Marion's Crime-Free Housing or Cedar Rapids' Safe CR. There are others in other cities. Des Moines has one. Wherever they can go to get an accredited one, that's fine. And then we will, if they do that, if they go to that, whatever that course fee costs them, up to $200, we will credit that back to the $500 that it's going to take them to get their landlord license back. So. And that's kind of the long and short of it. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone here to address the council on this measure, either for or against? Please come forward. Okay, come forward, state your name and address, and also fill out the card if you hadn't done that yet. Thank you.
And may I turn on the projector?
I think somebody can help with that. Thank you.
Like, hold up here. My name is Linda Miller. I live at 4001 North 10th Street, Marion, Iowa, and I'm here on behalf of myself. I am, however, how do you make this? Oh, I guess I can just move it. But anyway, I'm here on behalf of myself. However, I am a member of Landlords of Lake County and Landlords of Iowa. I feel these new fees are burdensome and not fair because Cedar Rapids, as you can see here, has a $50 a year fee. I mean, for the initial fee, and that's it. They're not charged $50 every year. And some of these other fees you guys are thinking of are just really, really too high. And I gave you this so you guys can look at that on your own for the new pricing structure. I didn't know about this till I attended the crime-free housing thing at Low Park on the 16th of April. But anyway, I was kind of shocked the way it was presented because it was brought up as, we got to find a way to make some money, and it seems like it's going to be on the backs of landlords. And I don't think that's fair because my rental properties, I have good inspections, and I think 3 years is fine. I don't think it should go back to 2. Cedar Rapids went from 3 to 5, so that's fewer inspections. If you pass, that's good. And even my Section 8 person, they changed that from, you used to have to do it every year, they changed that to doing it every 2 years. Why should you guys increase the amount of inspections and have us paying more all the time when everybody else is having fewer inspections? I don't understand that at all, why that is happening. I believe that Marion is giving a lot of tax giveaways, and that's fine as long as it doesn't affect other people for the amount of money that you guys are expecting us to expend. You're giving us tax exemptions, breaks for developers. I think you ought to give us some breaks too. If not, like find a way to maybe take the money from arrest things for traffic violations and things like that. This affects small landlords, especially those that have loans on their properties, such as me. Property tax increases are coming up, and those are going to be excessive because I believe those went up 6.8% or are going up. And current renters are going to be surprised by all these radical increases of everything because a lot of properties around rent for between $500 and some dollars and $700. And this will just jack the price of that up. And I think these things are usury and are unfair. And I think that since you're giving all these things away to all these other apartment developers, how about telling them that they have to supply Section 8 housing for at least a quarter, up to a third of the people that they rent to? They ought to have it so that those people can afford it. Even with the library, years ago they were talking about putting a rental property above the library. Why shouldn't that be at least a quarter to a third Section 8 or special needs housing? Currently, with my 2 fourplexes, historically I've had half to a third special needs or minorities. I don't see why these other places shouldn't be held as the same thing. Thank you, and please do not instate these raises. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for her before she sits down? Okay. Anyone else here to address the council on this topic, either in favor or in opposition? Please come forward. Okay. We'll close the public hearing. Were there any other comments from other people received on this outside this meeting?
My office has not received any. I don't know if community development has.
I don't believe our office has as well.
You haven't received any comments? Okay. Okay, we'll bring it back up here to the council.
Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 27606, approving the 2019 housing program plans of inspection as required by 165.06 of the Marion Housing Code.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27606, approving the 2019 housing program plans of inspection as required by 165.06 of the Marion Housing Code. Discussion. Yes, Mr. Jensen.
To address the comment that Ms. Miller made as far as how our fees, proposed fees, compared to Cedar Rapids, Gary, didn't you have on Tuesday a page that kind of compared a number of our fees to Cedar Rapids? I know you did it individually, but
Yeah, it was.
I thought there was quite a bit of comparison of Marion to Cedar Rapids, and I thought they were fairly similar in a number of ways.
So Cedar Rapids charges for the registration annually, and we're going to do the registration every other year. So with if you're looking at 2 year to 2 year, we're real close to being the same amount of money. And I did have a slide on that, a couple of them actually, on a 12 unit and a 4 unit. So I guess I can dig that back out if you wanted to see it again.
But the number of fees, most of the fees were they similar to Cedar Rapids? I mean, how did they?
With the exception of the annual, Cedar Rapids does the annual fee, and the one-time fee, and we're going to do the annual fee. The other items on there, the rental stuff, the inspections and the registration, we were quite a bit actually less than what they were for the 2 year inspections.
Well, what you talked about is on the 2 year inspection, if you pass the first time, that fee is waived.
That is correct.
So even though we're doing it more frequently, which I'm in favor of.
Right. So we have.
But it's not necessarily, if they're in good stand, then it would not be an added cost. It just may be a little more frequency of time needed.
So that's correct. So Cedar Rapids does a registration annually, and ours is going to be every 2 years. So if we go out and do an inspection in that 2 years, especially on anything 4 units or less, and we have 1,417 rental buildings in this community. And out of the 1,400, probably 1,100 of them are 4 units or less. So if those 4 units or less would pass the first time, we're actually less money, with the exception of the annual fee. But other than that, we're less money than what we are currently, and plus what Cedar Rapids is. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Other comments or questions?
I think they're great. The new proposed fees and going every 2 years other than 3 years, and yeah, I think it's fantastic.
What about the?
You guys going up whenever going down.
You're out of order.
Frequency instead of up like everyone else.
Ma'am, you.
I know, but geez, come on.
But what about the?
Exactly why.
And I can answer that a little bit. With our increase in complaints that we've had, we're feeling that if we go a little more often, we can reduce the amount of complaints. And we had a 57% increase on complaints this last year. That's
from tenants. From
well, okay, that's 57% increase on complaints, and some of them are tenants, some of them are just neighbors that are complaining about the units, or they could be a single family owner occupied that they get. But the biggest share of our complaints come from on rental housing units.
I got one today from a citizen about a rental across the street from them and it not being taken care of. So I passed it along.
What about the issue of the Cedar Rapids charging that $50 fee only one time, and we're charging it every year?
We're charging it every year. There's a lot of paperwork and background and stuff we have to do. We have to make sure that all the landlords have the correct address. They move around. Some of them do, some of them don't. There's some that are where they've been forever, and then there's some that change. The landlord may be out in California, but their management company can switch from day to day or from month to month, year to year. We can we can deal with that other ways, because like Hiawatha, if you change your landlord, you change your address, you change your management company, anything you change on that, if you don't report it to them and they send you a letter and it's not the right address, they charge them $250. That's, quite a substantial fee, I guess, but that's their way of taking care of it. Ours is just by trying to keep after the landlords and do annual registration or a permit every year.
I'm going to ask the city manager to address the issue of what's the truth to the statement that this is just to make more money. I mean, this is raising more money, but it's specifically so that we can pay for the additional inspections for public safety. Is that accurate, or why don't you just address that?
What we're looking at here is really switching to something where we are more of a fee-for-service model. Prior to this year, we'd been doing housing inspections by mixing it up amongst the regular building inspectors, and we've moved to a model where we actually have one person doing the bulk of the housing inspections. And back in the days when multi-residential properties were assessed as commercial properties, as business enterprises, they were paying a much higher property tax rate. They were paying it on 100% of the value of their property, and then that got scaled back to 90%. With the reforms in the property tax law, they are being scaled down now to the single-family residential rate. The inequity comes in when you look at the fact that we don't have to do this for single-family homes. With single-family homes, you've got primary responsibility for yourself or your own family. When you have a tenant property, you're taking on responsibility for someone else's health and safety, and that's where we step in as a city to make sure that we are ensuring the health and safety of those residents. As everybody knows, you've got great landlords and you have bad landlords. The way that these fees are constructed and the way that they've put the program together is intended to reward the good landlords. The ones who pass the inspection on the first time, that take care of their properties, will not get charged that initial inspection fee. It's only for the ones that they scale up for the number of times that we have to go back. But it comes down to that the way property taxation in Iowa works, if we aren't charging those fees back directly to the properties that are benefiting or generating the need for those services, then your single-family homeowners in Marion are subsidizing the cost of providing that service. And that's pretty inequitable to ask them to do that when they're not the ones that are receiving the direct benefit. So this is really a shift. It's not a revenue grab. It's not us trying to raise more money. It's merely charging back the cost of providing that service to those that are generating the need for it.
And is it correct that the multifamily rental housing you said it's now being taxed as single-family residential, same rates as single-family residential?
It's being phased in. It's scaling down.
So their taxes are actually decreasing.
Yeah, this year they'd be being taxed at, I believe, 75% of assessed value, and then it scales down about 3.75% per year until it reaches the same level as single-family residential. So they have been decreasing the assessed value that you're being taxed against. Now, again, that if your assessed valuation takes a jump, that may go up more than what the scaling back is pulling off value. But on balance, you've seen some of our largest complexes have their property tax bills will ultimately be cut by 44%.
While they're requiring more city services than normal single-family homes.
And again, while they were being taxed at that higher rate, I don't think this was a proposal that we would have brought before the City Council, because they were, in essence, paying for those services through a different way. But when the state made this shift and started to look at them and classify them as single-family residences, that really kind of raised some flags for us that we really needed to make sure that we were being equitable in how we were charging for those services.
Thank you. I think that was an important discussion to have. Any further comments or discussions? Mr. Serdad?
I'm going to just go ahead and back that up again as what I said on Tuesday. We appreciate those that actually have these homes for rentals here in town, but they are looked at as a business. We are frequently compared to Cedar Rapids. I think this is going to be an opportunity for Cedar Rapids to take a look at us. I don't agree with Cedar Rapids' codes. Their ordinances, their practices with this, they should be done more frequently. I've got a lot of experience in working with tenants that are dealing with landlords that need to be held to a higher standard with that. Again, I like the fact that we're shifting this back to, as a taxpayer, and the taxpayers in our community should not be paying for this service. And we have been providing this service to those landlords. Again, it's part of operating your business. It's an expense. I run my self-employed business as well. I don't like paying unemployment taxes, workman's comp, but I got to do it. And so we have to make those adjustments periodically. And when you take a look at a $200 or $300 expenditure on an annual basis, it's going to mean that you're going to have to reevaluate your rent on a monthly basis. I get it. I understand it. But I don't like paying taxes for the services that we have to provide to the landlords. So the reason why Cedar Rapids doesn't do it more frequently is because it's extremely expensive, or their rates would be going up as well too. And who knows what the future holds on that over there. So again, I'm going to extend a nice job, work on this. There was a lot of work and efforts put into it, a lot of consideration put into it, and there's a lot of fees that are waived on this for those clean inspections. So those that are doing a good job will not see those potential expenses. So I just wanted to weigh in there because there's a lot of bits that go to that, and it's important. So though it may seem unfair to some, I think it's on the right track to shifting that expense where it needs to be allocated. So, you know, we want to make sure we're keeping this focused on this. I know there's been other topics about incentives for other issues, but this is this one for right now. So, thank you.
Even though the public hearing is completed, if you'd like to make another comment, just if you would keep it brief. Thank you.
Real short here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to, I think having the, have to pay the fee every year, the $50 fee, should not be happening. If it's just keep track of things, have, instead of that, have if something on there that if you don't have, if you change your address and that, then there'll be like a $300 or $400 fee for that. But for $50 a year, just for the initial registration every year after that, that is not fair. And if it's just like the Section 8 housing. It used to be every year, but I passed, so I get every 2 years instead. And they ought to have something like that, that it's a step up. Sure, try the first year for 2 years, and if you pass, make it 3 years. Because I was fine with the 3-year thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this?
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted
City
to point
Attorney.
out, we had a couple of questions that came up on Tuesday that we did take a look at since then, and so there are a few modifications to this policy if you didn't look at them. One of those was the addition of the vacant building fee, but the other one was, I did address the interim occupancy, and therein gave them a time frame for which they would not have to register as a rental property, since that is an occupancy in contemplation of a purchase. And again, that wouldn't apply if they were doing something like a real estate contract where they were actually purchasing it on contract and living there, but I know people call that rent to own a lot, but it's actually a purchase by contract. This would not apply to that either because they would be equitable title holders.
Okay. Any further comments? Okay, if you're ready to vote. All those in favor of approving resolution number 27606, approving the 2019 Housing Program Plans of Inspection as required by Code Section 165.09 of the Marion Housing Code. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Okay, the motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, I move for resolution number 27607, approving the 2019 Housing Code table of fees as required by 165.05 of the Marion Housing Code and including the landlord permit fee and housing unit registration fee.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27607, approving the 2019 Housing Code table of fees as required by 165.05 of the Marion Housing Code, and including landlord permit fee and housing unit registration fee. Discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 27607, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. Mr. Sternad?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27608, adopting the 2019 Lynn County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilperson Sternad, seconded by Councilperson Brandt, to approve resolution number 27608, adopting the 2019 Lynn County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Discussion. All those in favor of resolution number 27608, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion has been approved.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to receive and file a request from Rookwood Estates LLC for the issuance of building permits prior to approval of the final plat for the Rookwood Estates First Edition.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to receive and file a request from Rookwood Estates LLC for the issuance of building permits prior to approval of the final plat. Discussion? So what's going to happen with this once we receive and file it?
Staff's going to take a look at where it is and bring back a recommendation to the council. We just want to make sure that we need more information before we can do that at this point.
Got it. Okay. No discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. At this time, we have a public forum. Time set aside for comments from the public on topics other than those listed on this agenda. Is there anyone here to address the council on any topic other than what's listed on the agenda? Okay, seeing that there are none, we'll move on to council discussion. We can start with Mr. Brandt.
I'm good. Happy Easter, everybody.
I have just a couple things here I wanted to bring up. Once again, I wanted to congratulate the Parks Department and everyone that was part of receiving that award, the Tree City USA again. It was excellent, and it's exciting to see we continue to keep that trend. So, Mike, to you and your staff again, congratulations on that. Once again, another feather in Marion's hat, and how exciting to beat down Interstate 80 to go collect awards. So that's amazing. I love it when they start getting tired of seeing Marion on the stage. I think it's great. Hats off to our Chief Crable and Heather Akers with the Giving Tree. They were in the Her magazine. Excellent articles. Congratulations. Again, just individuals that are reaching higher, doing those things, and I love the fact of getting that recognition and getting that publicity. So how exciting. Thoroughly enjoyed reading those articles for those folks. I also had the opportunity to, along with the mayor, kick off, this was a lot of fun, the Iowa Federation Square and Round Dancing Convention. Who could not look across that crowd and not love those people in those chairs? It was incredible. I had a lot of fun with those folks, and I had their attention until I asked them if they could slip a couple of roundabouts in their do-si-do. So it was a lot of fun. Those folks have so much energy, and it was just fun to experience. So I'd like to thank Amber for asking me to participate in that, and how that became is they were a recipient of the hotel motel tax, and I took just a brief moment to explain to them how that worked. They were a recipient of approximately $7,000 as part of that, and they didn't quite realize until I explained to them how we reinvest back in our tourism. And you would have thought I hung the moon in the sky, because they just couldn't believe that actually exists. And so for us to contribute that amount of money through that grant process, allows them to travel across the state from city to city to bring that experience and share that. So I just wanted to kind of explain a little bit, kind of weave in a little bit of that hotel motel tax in there as we continue to keep building that program out. So again, it's ways for us to reinvest and continue to keep reseeding that money. So with that, happy Easter to everyone as well too. Have a safe and travels this weekend.
Yeah, my wife had a garage sale the last day and a half, and I'm not here promoting that because thankfully it's over. But the amount of time I spent out there with her about that, it's kind of always, the interesting part about that is having people come in, just the chit chat that goes on, and the number of times that you talk to somebody and you ask them where they live, and they say, hey, I just moved here one was from Fort Madison. Why did you move here? Because of family. And before I moved here, I didn't know anything about Marion. But you get the comments about how positive they look at Marion and how much they enjoy living in Marion. So it's really always nice to get those unsolicited comments from citizens throughout the community.
Nothing.
Okay, for my part, so I was there the second day to welcome the square dancers, and I found out that there were 399 participants. So I said, somebody needs a partner. So I offered to sign up, but they didn't want me.
They seen your do-si-do?
But it was what a great group of people to have in town, and I'm sure the Long Branch really loved having them and did a great job hosting them here, and it was nice to be able to go and welcome them and tell them about our community and invite them to come back and check out everything that we have to offer. Had a chance to speak at one of the Rotary clubs last Friday about what's going on in Marion. Spoke at a career night about not law and political career or political jobs at one of the high schools last week. I also spoke to 3 different buildings in a senior complex, and had a great time with those folks and just had some really good discussion. Also had the opportunity to introduce a well-known author to all 900 second graders in our city last Tuesday. Earlier today, city manager and I had the opportunity to welcome Congresswoman Finkenauer to Marion as she toured one of the industrial facilities here in town. And then yesterday we had a meeting with the library board and the city council, and many citizens and city staff were here just to talk about the status of the library project. And I think it's an opportunity for all of us to get on the same page as to what our community needs as a library, for a library, and to do a positive reboot of that project, and to do it in a way that we can all be proud of. So, and I want to recognize for reaching higher the council members here tonight. You guys couldn't see this, but I gave them instructions on how to make a motion. They struggled a little bit, but most of I did notice some improvement. So, good job. Thank you for reaching higher. I'm trying to bring up the level of professionalism of these meetings, I think, for all of us. And so I appreciate your indulging me and you're playing along here with me. So.
And then Steve said POS.
Yeah. With that, our meeting is concluded. Thank you. Have a great evening.